Listen,
Oh, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't happening in the next 15 minutes. It ain't gonna happen. Well, what we're reading here is that famine that Christ prophesied about. It happened about 8 years, 8 to 10 years after Christ died in the days of Claudius Caesar. Now you might ask, well, who's Claudius Caesar? Claudius Caesar was the fifth emperor among the 12 feathers. 12 feathers are known as 12 wings, 12 kings that you read about in the book of Esdras. Now we're going to read that, so I need you to bear with me. Okay, but before we get to it, I'm going to open up with the book of Obadiah. For a reason, I'm going here for a reason.
you heard that, right? He went into, let me bring it back. Let me bring it back. Let me bring it back. He finally got it. Finally got it. 12 feathers. Let's listen again.
Here, that famine that Christ prophesied about, it happened about 8 years, 8 to 10 years after Christ died in the days of Claudius Caesar. Now you might ask, well, who's Claudius Caesar? Claudius Caesar was the fifth emperor among the 12 feathers. 12 feathers are known as 12 wings, 12 kings that you read about in the book of Esdras. Now we're going to read that, so I need you to bear with me. Okay, but before we get to it, I'm going to open up the book.
We've been broke that down. He got mad at it. I guess he, we didn't give it to him, and I guess he, studied it and figured it out. If you study things, you figure it out.
For a reason, I'm going here for a reason. So y'all just bear with me. The vision, I'm going to read verse 1 and I'm going to get to the point. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. Remember, the word Edom is Hebrew. It means red people. Okay, or red. It means red. Edomite means red people. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. So the nations are going to gather themselves together and fight against America. I'm going to jump over to verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars. So what's the symbol of America? The eagle. And though thou set thy nest among the stars. In 1969, I believe it was, what did America do? They landed on the moon. Okay, that's what it means to set thy nest among the stars. Thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Now, when it says, thence will I bring you down, saith the Lord, that's when the truth really started to be pushed. And the Israelites started to wake up and prophesy against this.
Starting with Abba, you got to mention Abba, and you got to mention Marshal Arya and Yaikwab. When you go back to Malachi, what is that? Malachi 4. Father to the children, children to the father, fathers to the children, children to the father, children to the father, father to the children. Marshal Arya and Yaikwab. Those were the three that you got the seven, which they came up under them. And we now, we entered into their labors. Okay. And Bishop Nathaniel is laboring. He just got to get it right. He just got to get it right. He just got to come all the way home. You got to get it 100%.
All right. It's not, I got to say this. You got people teaching that means America will lose the wars against Vietnam, for example. Let me tell you something. America did not lose the Vietnam War. Do you realize that America wiped out Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
That's true. They just listed it as a war that they lost because they ultimately retreated. That was nothing but a police action. It wasn't even a law, a war. Because you had the UN. When in UN, you had all these UN nations And the war between Russia and the Ukraine, which has been going on since 2014, they just started talking about it like it's a new war. That's nothing but a civil war, because all these countries have a seat in the UN. So that's a civil war. Or you can say it's a police action.
Two cities? You don't think America had the power to wipe Vietnam off the earth? Are you that stupid, you black Hebrew Israelites? And run around talking about America lost to Vietnam? No, 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 no.
I know he ain't talking about GMS because we ain't never said that. They lost in the sense that they retreated. And the current system that you have in the Vietnam is a communist system. That's all that means. That's all that means. Because, like he said, the American forces, they could have dropped bombs, missiles, and totally annihilated. That's not how wars work. That's not how wars work. That's why Putin did not want to, blow up cities, because you want to have the place intact. Just like Darius, Darius the Mede gave the order to kill the king of Babylon and his lords because they were drunk, and they had they had the king's food. It tells you about that in was that Daniel the first chapter, I believe, either Daniel the first chapter, 11th verse, or Daniel second chapter. No, Daniel the first chapter, about the king's food and how he did an experiment eating post, which is greenery, which is the food we're supposed to be eating mostly. You get sick, you go back to dogs. They sick, they eat grass. What's in it? Chlorophyll, a healing factor. Anyway, let's listen to some more.
America just pulled back. That's all. I'm gonna give you another example. Remember what Trump said about ISIS and all that? He said I could defeat ISIS, but I got to kill a couple of millions of people. He said, then you'll all hate me then.
There is tremendous potential between our country and Pakistan. I think Pakistan is going to help us out to extricate ourselves. We're like policemen. We're not fighting a war. If we wanted to fight a war in Afghanistan and win it, I could win that war in a week. I just don't want to kill 10 million people. Does that make sense to you? I don't want to kill 10 million people. I have plans on Afghanistan that if I wanted to win that war, Afghanistan would be wiped off the face of the earth. It would be gone. It would be over in literally in 10 days. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to go that route. So we're working with Pakistan and others to extricate ourselves, nor do we want to be policemen, because basically we're policemen right now. And we're not supposed to be policemen. We've been there for 19 years in Afghanistan. It's ridiculous. And I think Pakistan helps us with that because we don't want to stay as policemen. But if we wanted to, we could win that war. I have a plan that would win that war in a very short period of time. You understand that better.
He said, all I got to do was press a button and I could eliminate millions of people and end ISIS overnight. But if I did that, everyone would hate me. And he's not lying. I'll give you another example. They say Ukraine has to win the war against Russia. How many nuclear bombs does Ukraine have at their disposal? None.
Russia can wipe Ukraine off the map. Russia does not want to wipe Ukraine off of the map, which Ukraine is a former, how can I say, a part of the USSR. He's just bringing back he's bringing together the former USSR, and that's a fulfillment in Jeremiah, assembly of nations shall come against Babylon. And like I said, Putin did not want to destroy the infrastructure, because once you destroy everything, it's going to take you decades to build it back up. You want to try to keep it intact. That's how wars work. When they declare war on something, it's for the resources in that land. It's not, oh, we're enemies. I don't like you. You don't like me. Let me bomb you. No, it doesn't work that way.
Russia has hundreds of nuclear weapons. When I say nuclear weapons, I mean, weapons that can wipe out cities and states. Do you understand the difference? Russia can fight on a nuclear level. Not just Ukraine can fight on a conventional level.
That's why Putin is taking it to the air with the drones and the fighter jets. They're far more superior. That's why what's his name, Zelensky, in the beginning, in February, the beginning of the war, he kept begging the U.S. What's the term? No-fly zone. You know what that means? That means if America declares a no-fly zone, that means only authorized planes can fly. I remember when the World Trade Center happened, that was a no-fly zone, and all the airports, they had to cancel all those flights. Now the Bin Laden family members were able to get on a flight. They went to New York and they went to Chicago, I believe, and they got out of there. Other than that, anything you saw in the sky were U.S. Air Force jets, and I remember looking up in the sky and seeing jets fly by. That's called a no-fly zone. If anybody from another country or unauthorized airline flew, they would have blown it out the sky. Because that's the first thing that Zelensky asked for is a no-fly zone from the U.S. and NATO.
More armament. Do you really think the Ukraine could defeat Russia? No.
Give me a sec.
No. Anything like that, it's been a ploy. Russia's going to pull back and not destroy Ukraine. Because they said, why would they destroy it? They want it. I just want y'all to think about that. Right? So, back to the point now. Claudius Caesar was the 5th emperor called the 12 feathers in the book of 2nd Esdras. Let's take a look at that. Pay close attention. Pay close attention. 2nd Esdras chapter 11 verse 1. It reads, Then saw I a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle. Y'all see that? An eagle, which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. The 12 feathered wings are the 12 seasons. Now, I want you all to get a pen. I want all of you to get a pen. Okay? Bear with me. Bear with me. Let's discuss the 12 seasons. The 12 feathers begins with Julius Caesar, followed by Augustus Caesar, followed by Tiberius Caesar, followed by Caligula Caesar. And the 5th feather, or feathered wing, was Claudius Caesar, followed by Nero, then Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. Those are the 12 feathers. Let me read them again. Julius Caesar was the first, followed by Augustus.
Now, when you mention Julius Caesar, you got to mention the triumvirate, which is also in 2nd Esdras 11th chapter, and also in the 12th chapter. It speaks about the 3 heads. 3 heads does not represent Julius, Augustus, and Tiberius. It represents Julius, Crassus, or Anthony, Mark Antony. And they were fighting for position. Julius ultimately got the prominent position of Caesar. And by the way, the Caesars was named after him. It became a title. His name was Julius Caesar. He was the emperor.
is number 2. Followed by Tiberius, number 3. Caligula, number 4. Claudius Caesar, number 5, the 5th one. Nero, number 6.
So I said for the record, and you can look at this guy, look at him real good. Look at him real good. That's Donald Trump. Look at him. That looks just like Donald J. Trump. That's Donald J. Trump. Look at the face, the fat face, the hair, full head of hair. Some of them are bald headed. Look, that's Donald Trump. That's Donald Trump. So all these Caesars, emperors, came back, are back here today. One of them is living that we know of, which is Nero Caesar, which is Donald Trump. Now, if you say prove it, there's no way. There's some things that you know through the spirit. Okay. That's why this guy, no matter what he does, he's a Teflon president. The Teflon, oh, well, we can call him the real Teflon Don. Donald Trump, the Teflon Don. Man, all these times they're trying to get this guy. They got all kind of evidence on him to lock his ass up. They can't get him. And right now, because he's Nero Caesar, he's coming back in his position. That's why he wanted to be president, man. I'm the fucking president, bro. Because he was a Caesar back there. He was a hellraiser. And he was the one that came against the Israelites hard. This is the time period. This is a time period of when you go back to Daniel chapter 9, 24th verse on down. As a matter of fact, I should read it, but it speaks about 7 years, and in the middle of that year, you got Christians saying that's talking about the great tribulation period, and we're going to be raptured. Nope, that took place at 70 AD. The person behind 70 AD was Vespasian, Titus. Titus was a general, but they had the Jake general, which he's probably the guy. He's the Secretary of Defense, that big black guy. I believe he's Julius Tiberius. Julius Tiberius Alexander, or however his name goes. He was raised up as an Alexandrian Jew. He was Jew. He was circumcised on the 8th day. He came up under the law. He spoke Hebrew, but he fell in love with the Greco-Roman lifestyle and became a top general. He was the one that actually defeated the Israelites in 70 AD. When I say 70 AD, I'm talking about this skirmish started with him. Who did he kill? Who did he order to kill? 2 prominent men. Now I got to go back into it. I believe not all of them, but some of them. James the first, he was killed by the order of I believe that was Herod in Acts 12. Then you had other Caesars that had these disciples put to death, but it was Nero. I know for a fact, I got to go back into the history, that he was an emperor when Peter he signed off Peter being crucified upside down, being put to death, and Paul being put to death, and some of the other 12. But I believe you maybe had Claudius. I got to go back into the history, but I do know Peter and Paul was put to death. And during this time period, this is when John was sentenced to the Isle of Patmos, and this is when Domitian was in there. Now, after Domitian was, what was his name? Nerva, which he was a Jake. Okay, so let's listen to a little bit more.
Galba, number 7. Otho, number 8. Vitellius, number 9. Vespasian, number 10. Titus, number 11. And Domitian, number 12. Those are the 12 feathers. So let's read it again. Then saw I a dream, And behold, there came up from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. The 3 heads, let's write this down. The United States of America is on the left side. The head in the center is Rome. The head on the right side is Britain, the British Empire.
What? What? Are you, man, you were going good. You were going good. How the hell did, oh my goodness. Are you listening to this, Apostle Ramlab, Apostle Gabar? Are you listening to this? You brothers in the GMS that go to, he was going so good. He was going so good, then he hit the wrong turn. And he, man, come on, brother. Come on, now.
So USA, Rome, and Britain. Write it down. Those are the 3 heads.
No, it's not. No, it is not. No, it is not. You just went off. You just went off. And I was kind of getting into what you were saying until you went off. They ain't talking about America, Rome, and what? What did he say? Let's bring that back. He got the 12 feathers right. The 3 is talking about a triumvirate. It's talking about now I'm forced to go into it. Matter of fact, let me do this. Come on. I thought, come on now. Come on, dog. Let me see. Let me go to the Apocryphy real quick. I say the Apocryphy. Okay, let me do this. He just went off. The second Esdras. Why did I do that? Second Esdras 11. The 12 feathers. Then saw I dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. It's talking about the Roman Empire. The 12 represent. He was right on that. From Caesar, Julius Caesar, to Domitian, the 3 heads. And I saw, and behold, she spread her wings over all the earth. And all the winds of the air blew on her and were gathered together. That means that, you know, the empire, in other words, it took down all these different states, places, countries, and they became, what's the term? States, what's the other term? Provinces of Rome. That's what it's talking about. And it didn't take the whole earth. It took that known part of the earth. And I beheld, and out of her feathers there grew other contrary feathers, and they became little feathers and small. But her heads were at rest. The head in the midst was greater than the other, yet rested it with the residue. The head in the midst is talking about Julius Caesar. Moreover, I behold, and lo, the eagle flew with her feathers and rained upon the earth, the known earth, and over them that dwelt therein. And I saw that all things under heaven were subjected unto her, the Roman Empire, that part of the earth. And no man spake against her, no, not one creature upon earth. And I beheld, and lo, the eagle rose up. I'm not going to read this whole thing. Upon her talons, and spake to her feathers, saying, watch not all at once. So Bishop Nathaniel, which he was going good, but he made that turn. It has nothing to do with America. It has nothing to do with America. Second Ezra chapter 11, Second Ezra chapter 12 has nothing to do with America or Britain. It has nothing to do with America. Watch not all at once, meaning you had Julius, you had Augustus, you had Tiberius, so forth and so on. What was that? Julius, Augustus, Tiberius. I believe that was Caligula. It was Caligula. He was fourth. Then you had Claudius, which was fifth. He banished the Israelites, the saints, out of Rome because they were raised in hell. It was on the highways and the byways, raised in hell, and it was a nuisance. Read it. Look the history. Go to Google and put in why did Claudius banish the Jews and the Christians. It was really the Jews and the Christians out of Rome. That's in Acts chapter 8. Sleep everyone in his own place and watch by course. Julius Caesar was first. Augustus Caesar was second, which was his nephew, also known as Octavia. Tiberius was third. But let the heads be preserved for the last. What does it mean that the heads being reserved for the last? Let's talk about the last three. Vespasian, Titus his son, and Domitian his son. So that's reincarnation right there. And I beheld, and lo, the voice went not out of her heads, but from the midst of her body, meaning you had these Caesars that sat up and was a spokesperson for the Roman Empire. That's why it said it has to come one after the other, right? Was that the 6th verse? And I saw that all things under heaven was subject unto her, and no man spake against it, no, not one. That's not it. Give me a second. I'm not going to read anymore. I'm not going to read anymore. Let's go back. Bear with me for a minute. Okay. The first three was Julius, Mark Antony, and Cassius. And they were jockeying for position. He got the higher position. The Senate hated this guy. When he came around, they said, hide your woman, because he was a womanizer. They said they're going to come in order one after the other. They're going to sleep, and the next one's going to come. So he came back with the three as Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. He's probably Vespasian, but this is Trump. So let's listen to a little bit more.
Number 5, the 5th one. Nero, number 6. Galba, number 7. Otho, number 8. Vitellius, number 9. Vespasian, number 10. Titus, number 11. And Domitian, number 12. Those are the.
If you go to Google and you put the year of the 4 emperors, they'll mention Galba, Otho, Vitellius, and Vespasian. So I believe that was, well, it says 69, 69, 69, and 69, 70, because he ruled for like 9, 10 years. It's called the year of the 4 emperors, or the year of the 4 Caesars. Where he came into power, he was put to death. And I believe it was Otho that killed himself. Some scholars say he had a dream that they were going to kill him, and he said, let me kill myself before they kill me. So scholars argue, but they do all agree that he did kill himself. And it was probably out of fear of Vespasian. And Vespasian was supposedly behind him being put to death, and Vitellius being put to death. That's why it's called the year of the 4 emperors. He came up, died inside of months. He came up, killed himself inside of months. He came up, he was killed inside of some months, because it was still 69. And then Vespasian was the guy that came in. And I just read that. And I believe he reigned for let's say 10 years. And he died, and his son came into power, and he died. They said that he died because I believe it was a fly or a bug that went up in his nose and ate part of his brain. And the Israelites at that time said, that's good, the Most High got him back. That's him. And the Domitian was his brother that came up. This was during the time period of the Judicopter. Judah is conquered. They commemorated a coin of a Roman soldier standing over a Judite woman underneath a palm tree. All right. And he was the one that erected the honorary arch of to his brother Titus, which was called the Arch of Titus. You go to Arch of Titus, you'll see it. And to show you that these Edomites are the Romans today, you have arches. You have an arch down on what is it, 4th Street, Washington Square Park in the Village. It's called the Arch of Washington. It's a Roman arch. It's an honorary arch because Washington was most likely Julius. Because George Washington was the first, and he was the first. But you can look at this. That's a dead ringer for Donald J. Trump, the fat face and the hairstyle. That's Nero. I've been saying that. Let's listen to a little bit more.
Feathers. So let's read it again. Then saw I a dream, and behold, there came up from the sea an eagle, which had 12 feathered wings and 3 heads. The 3 heads, let's write this down. The United States of America is on.
Wrong, wrong, wrong. He was doing good, but he made it. You know how you get a old ass map? You get a 10-year-old map, and you go on some place with a 10-year-old map, and you find out you can't find a place because they changed the roads. You went off of the road, man. You made the wrong turn. And I didn't want to say that. I wanted to praise you, my brother.
On the left side. The head in the center is Rome. The head on the right side is Britain, the British Empire. So that's the USA, Rome.
And you heard that eagle squeak. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is deep. Yo, this is deep. This is deep. Yeah, it's deep wrong. It's deep and it's wrong. And even High Priest Ariel broke it down that way. He put America is not mentioned at all in Second Esdras 11 and Second Esdras 12.
In Britain, write it down. Those are the 3 heads. Okay, those are the 3 heads. I hope y'all got that. I hope y'all paying attention. All right. So let's go over to Second Esdras chapter 11, verse 12. And I looked, and behold, on the right side there arose one feather, and reigned over all the earth. So that feather right there is referring to Julius Caesar. Okay, that's the first feather. Verse 13. And so it was that when it rained, the end of it came, and the place thereof appeared no more. So the next following stood up and reigned and had a great time. So Julius Caesar died. That's what it means when it said the end of it came.
The Senate stabbed him up. They had daggers and they stabbed him up. And Brutus, which was his friend, wasn't a real friend, a fake friend. He looked at Brutus stabbing him up and he said, "You too, Brutus." How do you say it in E2 Bruti, I believe. With you too, Brutus. Brutus didn't like you anyway. He was a fake friend. He was a friend out of convenience. He didn't like your motherfucking ass. The reason why he got pushed out the scene because he was stabbed up by the Senate.
So the next following stood up and reigned and had a great time. That's Augustus Caesar, who reigned from 27 BC to 14 AD. Augustus Caesar. Okay, hope y'all got that. Let's read on. It says, and it happened that when it rained, the end of it came also, meaning it died, like as the first, so that it appeared no more. Augustus died. Verse 15. Then came there a voice unto it and said, Hear thou that has borne rule over the earth so long. This
Some scholars say 41 years, some scholars say 44 years. Now, the next remaining emperor that ruled, I believe it's Tiberius. I'm not going to look it up, but one of them ruled about 20 years. And as you, this is why I'm saying that. So you can listen to what Bishop Nate got to say, so I can come back and say what I got to say.
I say unto thee, before thou beginnest to appear no more, there shall none after thee attain unto the time, neither unto the half thereof. So it's saying none of the 12 feathers would reach into the time of Augustus Caesar. Okay, because Augustus Caesar, he reigned for about 40 years. That's what verse 17 is saying. There shall none after thee attain unto thy time, neither unto the half thereof.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you can do the research. If I'm not mistaken, it was Tiberius. Like I said, I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive it was Tiberius. And he ruled, I believe it was 20 years. And Octavian Augustus Caesar ruled, like I said, 40 plus years.
Look at chapter 12, verse 15. It said, whereof the second shall begin to reign and shall have more time than any of the 12. That's Augustus Caesar. He reigned for 40 years. All right. Verse 18. Then arose the third and reigned as the other before, and appeared no more also. Okay. That's Tiberius. He was the third. Tiberius was the third. Bear with me, bear with me, bear with me. You had, remember, you had Julius Caesar, one. Augustus was the second feather. Tiberius was the third. So let's read verse 18 again. Then arose the third, that's Tiberius, and reigned as the other before, and appeared no more also. So went it with all the residue, one after another, as that everyone reigned and then appeared no more. The 12 Caesars died. Okay, 12 Caesars died. Let's go to chapter 12, verse 13. Because chapter 12 is the interpretation for chapter 11. So we're in 2nd Esdras chapter 12, verse 13. Behold, and three S-O. I'm not sure what S-O stands for. Please pray for me. I've been at the Mount Vernon camp a few times. I'm not an official member of IUIC, but I'm a loyal follower. I haven't put in my bricks on the street due to my limitations, so please forgive me. All praise, don't worry about that. If you're injured, you know, the Lord knows, and now I know. Because chapter 12 is the interpretation.
Okay, anyway, with that, I'm going to say Shalom. And the title of this video is going to be America Has Nothing to Do with 2nd Esdras chapter 11 and chapter 12. With that, I'm going to say Shalom. On to the next one. Sorry, buddy.